The Young and the Restless. Spoilers, September 20th, 2025. In Genoa City, every decision carries consequences, and in this episode, friendships are tested, alliances are reshaped, and love stories face heartbreaking truths that could change everything. Mariah Copeland had always been the steady presence for Tessa Porter, the anchor who understood her pain before she could even articulate it. But the burden of caregiving, of keeping strength alive when her own reserves had been depleted, had begun to wear on her. In a moment of quiet desperation, she reached out to Daniel Romalotti. Not because she didn't trust herself, but because she needed another set of shoulders strong enough to carry the weight. Daniel had been through storms of his own, rebuilding his life after years of chaos. And Mariah sensed in him a kind of resilience that Tessa needed now. It wasn't about romance, not about replacing one bond with another, but about weaving together a safety net so that Tessa would never feel abandoned in her darkest hours. Daniel, moved by the request, agreed without hesitation. And in that decision he stepped into a new role that would test his loyalty, his compassion, and his ability to be the quiet hero behind the scenes. It was a gesture that seemed small in the grand tapestry of Genoa City drama, yet it carried ripple effects that would be felt longer than anyone anticipated. At the same time, Jack Abbott was confronting battles of his own. Battles that stretched beyond the boardroom of Jabot and into the very survival of his family legacy. For decades, Jack had played chess against Victor Newman, sometimes winning, often losing, but always returning with a new strategy. This time, however, the stakes felt different. The shifting alliances, the corporate threats, and the fractures within his own family made him realize that he could no longer rely solely on the old ways. In an unexpected twist of fate, Jack found himself turning not to his usual circle, but to Victoria Newman. On the surface, it seemed absurd, an Abbott seeking help from a Newman. But desperation has a way of erasing old grudges. Jack knew that Victoria was sharp, ruthless, and capable of maneuvering in ways even he admired. By appealing to her, he wasn't just looking for an ally, he was acknowledging that survival sometimes meant reaching across the battlefield to shake hands with a rival. Victoria, as always, saw the advantage in aligning herself with Jack. And though her motives were never entirely pure, the spark of this new alliance promised to reshape the power dynamics of Genoa City in ways no one could predict. And then, there was Lily Winters, caught once again in the pull of a love story that had long since fractured beyond repair. She had built walls around her heart after endless betrayals, disappointments, and the slow erosion of trust. Yet the shadow of Cain Ashby always lingered, a ghost she could not entirely banish. That evening, Lily entered Crimson Lights, seeking nothing more than a few moments of peace, a familiar corner where she could breathe without the constant weight of expectation pressing down on her. Esther Valentine, ever intuitive, looked at her with knowing eyes and guessed her order before Lily even spoke, a small kindness that reminded her how much of her life had become visible to others. But just as she settled into that comfort, she felt the unmistakable presence of Cain standing behind her. He guessed her tea order too. The familiarity in his voice was both soothing and jarring, a reminder of the man he used to be, the man she had once trusted more than anyone else. The conversation that followed was inevitable, a collision of unresolved emotions and hard truths. Cain asked about the children, his tone heavy with guilt, and Lily confirmed what he already knew: they were hurting, caught in the undertow of choices neither parent could undo. They sat down, their drinks untouched, the air between them thick with history. Lily's eyes bore into him as she demanded to know why he was there. Had he truly abandoned his schemes, or was this just another ploy to worm his way back into her good graces? Cain, ever the smooth talker, denied any duplicity, swearing his intentions were pure. But Lily had heard it all before. For a fleeting moment, she admitted she saw a glimmer of the man she once loved, a flicker of the past that almost tricked her into believing in him again. But the illusion shattered quickly, replaced by the sobering truth that the man she remembered no longer existed. Cain refused to give up, declaring they were meant for each other, that destiny itself had bound them together. His voice cracked with desperation, but Lily's response was final. She told him no matter what he said, no matter how much he pleaded, the truth was unchangeable. They could never go back. The love they once shared was gone, burned away by years of mistrust. Her words cut through the air with quiet finality, leaving Kane watching his last hopes slip through his fingers. Lily told him the sooner he accepted reality, the better it would be for all of them, especially the children who deserved stability rather than endless false promises. Though the longing between them lingered, Lily realized love was not enough when trust had been broken beyond repair. She was stronger now, resolute, and chose to end the cycle rather than remain trapped in it. The tea before her had gone cold, a quiet metaphor for the love that had once warmed her but now sat lifeless.